Clown Show, Kosho, March 2021.
Faith is a more general term that I would probably say. There's science and then faith. Just having faith in something. Because faith doesn't require any evidence at all.
Wrong. So we have Clown Show, Kosho, juxtaposing science, which he has no clue of. See previous Numpty clips and further on in this presentation. He's juxtaposing science and faith, saying science has evidence whereas faith does not. They're two polar opposites. That's interesting. Let's see what Max Planck has to say about this. We got Max Planck here, Nobel Prize in Physics. Where is Science Going? Dated 1932, page 214. Max Planck says, anybody who has been seriously engaged in scientific work of any kind realizes that over the entrance to the gates of the Temple of Science are written the words, ye must have faith. It is a quality which the scientist cannot dispense with. So, either Clown Show Kosho is right and Max Planck is wrong, and or Clown Show Kosho is equivocating fallacy with the word faith. Guess where my bet's going? All in.
But that's my point. Is it science is not limited to cause and effect relationships.
Notice this Krayon muncher couched this with science, right? Not natural science, he said just science. So what he's doing is equivocating fallacy again. From one of your chief pseudoscience priests, we'll just lead it out here, nature.com, California Institute of Technology physicist Sean Carroll arguing in The Edge that hypotheses aren't simply useful tools in some potentially outmoded vision of science. They are the whole point. So, that begs the question, what's a scientific hypothesis? And Clown Show Kosho, it better have nothing to do with cause and effect, or you're toast. From Lowell C., Becoming a Successful Scientist, Cambridge University Press, a scientific hypothesis is based on cause and effect reasoning. There you go.
Fatality.
Down the tubes. A scientific hypothesis does not merely state X and Y may be related, but explains why they are related. Let's pile on. From Drexel University, the scientific method is hypothesis-driven. One makes an educated guess to explain a cause and effect relationship. From Anne-Marie Helmstein, Ph.D. Biomedical Sciences, a hypothesis is an educated guess based on observation. It's a prediction of cause and effect. From the Institute of Physics, when planning an investigation, students need to identify the variables that they consider significant and then select the ones they want to look at for cause and effect. If possible, any other variables that will affect the outcome of the experiment need to be kept constant during the investigation. The variables, independent, dependent, and controlled. From the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, in an experiment, the independent variable is the variable that is varied or manipulated by the researcher, and the dependent variable is the response that is measured. An independent variable is the presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable is the presumed effect. The IV is the antecedent, whereas the DV is the consequent. From his alma mater wiki, an experiment is a procedure carried out to support, refute, or validate a hypothesis. Experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcome occurs when a particular factor is manipulated. From sciencing.com, independent variable. The variable that the scientist changes during the experiment is the independent variable. Think of the experiment as a cause and effect exercise. The independent variable is the cause factor. So if the whole point of the scientific method is hypothesis, and it is, and hypotheses are exclusively based on cause and effect reasoning, they are, then natural science is solely based on cause and effect. And Clown Show Kosho is a pretender clown numpty dipshit.
You dumbass.
Yeah, but not all science requires experiments.
Are you high right now?
Natural science most certainly requires experiment. You equivocating egghead? From Professor Wolf's University of Rochester Physics Labs, the scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. You're done.
Oh, son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
D-U-N. Clown. Let's pile on. From Lure's, e.g., Introduction to Theory and Application of Molecular and Quantum Mechanics, the final arbiter of truth in science is experiment. From the chair of physics at Yale, Professor Shankar, the only way things change in physics is experiments. Everything is based on experiment. That's the only way we change our mind. From Richard Feynman, if it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science.
Hosmer with a drive. Cheese and crackers.
And finally, your buddy, Max Planck. Experiment is the only means of knowledge at our disposal. Everything else is poetry, imagination. Apparently, these scientists just stomped the mud hole in your dumb ass, Clown Show Kosho.
Like most wildlife biology doesn't require you can't even really do experiments. Same thing with astronomy. A lot of times it's just observations.
Well then, since wildlife biology and astronomy don't conduct experiments, and as we just went over, natural science requires experiment, therefore wildlife biology and astronomy aren't natural sciences. Thanks. By the way, if those quote-unquote disciplines, wildlife biology and astronomy, masquerade as natural sciences, then they are pseudosciences by definition. Pseudoscience, a collection of beliefs or practices mistakenly regarded as being based on the scientific method. Done.
An infinite amount of ways to do science.
No flailing, generalized, baseless, bare, useless, drivel assertion fallacy there. Infinite amount of ways, eh? Well, as we've all heard today, Professor Sean Carroll, Caltech, Chair of Physics at Yale, Professor Shankar, Richard Feynman, and Max Planck essentially say, you're full of pretender clown dipshittery, Clown Show Kosho.
The reason why you can infer that there's a force acting on it is even though you're measuring its acceleration, you're not measuring any actual acceleration.